This question sucks. There is no getting around it. And it looks confusing from the start. There's obviously confusing algebra, and so my first instinct would actually be to arithmetize, right? They're asking for a, so that means because there's these two variables, the x probably doesn't matter. And so my thought would be, let's make x equal to 1 and just kind of make everything fall away. But I'm just going to save you time. That doesn't work here. And that's annoying because I don't think it's a bad instinct to arithmetize here. And this gets to something I believe very strongly, is that you can't choose your strategies based on the exceptions, based on the times that they don't work. Arithmetize is an awesome strategy. If it works 85% of the time, that's so worth your time to try in cases when you're confused. But you will encounter places where it doesn't work. That's just the way it goes. But we can deal with those exceptions when they come up. If it works the other 80% of the time, it's worth having in your arsenal and trying at least when you're confused. So if arithmetize is going to work, what are we supposed to do here? Well, we need to have memorized some important facts. When I read this question, they are giving me some important information. No value of x satisfies the equation. That's a fancy way of saying that there are no solutions to this equation. Well, why would that happen? Well, we know that if we're dealing with lines, when we have no solutions, it's because the lines are parallel. And they don't intersect, right? They go in the same direction forever. And when lines are parallel, what does that mean? That means that they have the same slope. But I don't know if I'm dealing with lines here. This looks crazy. Here's a case where you might just make an assumption. And in fact, if we think in terms of y equals mx plus b, the left side of this equation kind of looks like that, right? It's a little different, and I'm going to add the y part, but it kind of matches up. And we know since a is a number, it's going to match up even more than it looks like now, because that'll just be a number times x minus 15, which is clearly like a y-intercept. So maybe that just feels like a logical leap that I'm making, but it is a line. And I can see that because these x's don't have exponents, they're going to follow a linear trajectory. A little bit of faith, but that's okay. So let's keep this in mind. So we'll see how we're kind of deciphering the words in the question and trying to make sense of them in the context of the algebra that we do know. We want to get back to basics, get back to a safe place here. So now I look at the right side of this equation, and it does not look like a line. So my instinct would be, let's see if we can clean it up a little bit. So we're going to have to do that by distributing. So 3x plus 15 plus 5x minus 15, or minus 5, oof, careful, see, this is why we show our work, minus 5. And now we combine like terms to get 8x plus 10. Okay, and so now we kind of do have two lines. Let's highlight them. And because we saw before that they're not supposed to have any solutions, they're supposed to be parallel lines, they're supposed to have the same slope, now I can narrow my focus to just the slopes. So the 8 is supposed to be the same as 2a. And if we divide by 2, we get that 4 is equal to a, and that is the answer. So I think at the end of all this work, it actually makes sense what they were asking, right? They were giving us two lines, and they have different y-intercepts, right? 10 and negative 15. So they're in different parts of the graph, but they're parallel. They move past each other. They never intersect. And so what the original equation we were given was kind of like half the work was done for us. The SAT had set these two equations equal to each other and done some solving, or unsolving in the case of that distribution, but they had kind of done part of the problem for us. But it was unclear what they had done, and so we unscrambled what they had done so that we could better understand what we had. This is really, really, really tough. But there are certain ideas that you should memorize from this, even if you don't quite get the whole thing. If they say that two lines have no solution, it means they're parallel, which means they have the same slope. So There you go. And if you're dealing with equations where you've got no exponents, the odds are very good that you're dealing with a line. That's an okay assumption to make. Write y equals mx plus b on your page. See if it takes you anywhere. And that's exactly how I got this answer. Really tough question. Don't beat yourself up if you got this wrong. There's some easier stuff to come.